Hello, everyone. This is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover. I'm back with another movie review, and we're back with our buddy Tinto Brass. I have to admit, yeah, for a little while there, I wasn't really eager to go back to looking at any of his movies because I had reviewed, like Miranda and All Ladies Do It, and it just kind of seemed like it seemed like some of his films were kind of just getting to be the same thing over and over again, and just kind of all have the same storyline, the same plot, things like that. And this one here, I'm happy to do this one because this one at least is a little bit different. Apparently, according to the box here, he did his own adaptation of John Cleland's Fanny Hill, and the movie we're talking about is Paprika. Now, this movie here, I have to admit, I was actually pleasantly surprised by this. This was a little bit better than the last couple of ones because it wasn't the same thing. It wasn't about a woman who's married to a man who goes out and does a bunch of cheating and stuff like that. And the whole thing is about, oh, don't you get turned on by cheating, and stuff like that. And this here, there's a little bit of that to it, but it's not really that much. This one here has a bit of a different story. So this one it's meant to be a comedy. It's not, you could tell the tone of it and the feel of the movie and everything else. It is meant to be a sexy comedy, even though honestly it's not really that funny. We have oh, I forgot the girl's name, but not the actress, but the character. The actress is Deborah Caprio Giglio. Oh God, I'm sorry, I butchered that name, didn't I? Oh God, I'm not very good with names. Sometimes you could tell. But anyway, um, she's was it Mima, something like that. Anyway, she's a young woman and she's engaged to be married to this guy, and they don't have any money. He's talking about he wants to start a business. Doesn't have it, not able to pull it together and stuff. So what she ends up doing, she takes a job working in a brothel, and so she starts, going in. Basically, she's going to turn around and give him, the money she makes working in the brothel. He's going to get his thing together, and they're sorry, and they're of the agreement that like she would only be doing this for a very short time, and then they would get married and go off and have their happily ever after and things like that. So she goes in and she meets the madam of the brothel, and immediately it's like, I mean, you can see there the girl is extremely gorgeous. She's very beautiful, and immediately once she gets into it and she starts doing it, pretty much she's the girl kind of like everybody wants to get with. And so it's kind of funny though. Well, one thing that is kind of funny is I don't get this, but she ends up getting with a client, right? And her first client, and he's a good looking young guy and all. And so they go upstairs and they do she's taught, like before you have sex with the guy, you gotta, you get him undressed, you take him over here to the sink, you clean him and check him, make sure he's okay and all before you guys get into the bed. So, she does all that. They get into the bed and everything. They have sex and she comes. So, and she's upset because she came and everything. And she's like, I'm not supposed to come, which I don't get that. I don't know. I mean, I know like usually a prostitution, or, like a brothel situation or something like that. I mean, usually they're like, hey, as long as the guy comes and he pays for it, that's all we care about, usually. So, but I mean, obviously the guy got off on it, but she did too. And so they file a complaint against the guy because he made her come. I don't get that. And so he had to turn around and pay extra because he made her come. I don't get that. That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life. I've never heard anything like that. But anyway, it happens. So, but anyway, this guy, he immediately becomes, smitten with her, and he wants to spend time with her and everything. So they do. They spend a little bit of time together, and meanwhile, she's still working at this brothel, and even the madam who runs the brothel, even she gets to the point she got, you know, they call the girl Paprika because they said, she's spicy and all this other kind of stuff. I think you obviously got that by now, but yeah, so they call her Paprika, and they're all like, "Ooh, she's spicy" and everything else. And so even the at one point, even the madam who runs the brothel, even she gets all horned out for this girl as she wants to go at her too and all. So she gets out a strap on, and then there's that kind of a scene. There's another scene where one of the girls is, works in the brothels, really like, she's into girl on girl, so she wants to go with her and all this stuff. But honestly, though, it's like um, one of the things I thought was really intriguing was, now a while back I talked about the Lizzie Borden movie, Working Girls. That review, remembering Working Girls. That's still on my channel, but this movie kind of has something similar to that. Is I think it's interesting when you have a story about women who work in a brothel, or call it what you will, brothel, whorehouse, whatever you want to call it. So they're sitting there, they're working and stuff, but they end up building this kind of like friendship, this kind of sisterhood, this kind of camaraderie, and something similar happens in this. All the women start to become really close. They start to become really good friends, and they end up supporting each other and caring about each other, becoming a family environment kind of a thing. So, but anyway, so Paprika, she goes out with this guy. I think his name's Franco. She goes with him on a date, and they're out having dinner and stuff like that. And she sees that her fiance, he's there with another woman, and so she goes and confronts him, and all this stuff. And so he realized, yeah, he screwed up and everything. And so they her and this Franco, they get together and they go and have sex and everything else. And sorry, throat's dry like usual. Anyway, so they go back to his place. They have sex the next day. He wakes up. She's making him breakfast, but she's getting ready to leave so she can go to work. And he's telling her, like, I'm, going to be a captain. I'm going to buy a boat. You can come with me. You don't have to do this. You can be with me and all that. And she's like, you know what? Right now, I don't, after the shit that I just went through with my fiance, right now, I don't really trust men. I'm not really, like looking for any of that kind of stuff. So she's like, I'm just going to go do my work, get some money, and then figure out what I'm going to do later on. I'll make plans for myself. So she goes and she leaves, and so the guy's like, he wants to be with her and stuff, but she said no. So she's back. She's doing her thing and everything else. And at one point, the fiance, he comes back, and he threatens that he's going to beat her up, and he's going to do horrible shit to her because he's the one who got her the job. So technically, she owes him like 60% of her money that she makes doing this stuff. And so she's getting into it, and she's talking about like she wants to get away from this guy and everything. And so and then there's like this other guy who he's basically pimping out this one girl. So he goes up there and he beats the shit out of her, and everything else. And so at first, Paprika's scared of this guy. And she decides, like, you know what? This is too dangerous. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go do something else. So she gets on a train and she's leaving. And she comes across this guy who, you know, this guy who is pimping out the one girl and stuff, and she's talking, she's like insulting him and stuff like that, and he's all like, "Oh yeah, you want me and you want to fuck me and this and that." And so he takes her into the bathroom and he does her in the bathroom on the train and stuff, and basically then she's hooked. So now she's going to basically become his next client, and he's talking about he's going to get her like working in these great brothels and all this other kind of stuff. She's talking about she wants to make it on her own, but he's got like these connections to these whorehouses and stuff and brothels and things like that. So he's calling ahead and telling her, this girl's coming in, don't give her a job because, she's like my new product, or call it what you will, but so yeah, she's my new girl. So yeah, don't give her a job because I'm she's mine. I'm dealing with her. And so she would go try to get, jobs in these brothels. They turn her away. And then, eventually she would end up turning to this guy and he would say, okay, I'm going to get you into this one place. And, he's like, I want you to meet these guys, these mafia like type guys and stuff. And so he's, like trying to show her off and everything else. And the mafia type guy, he's like, would you shut the fuck up? God, you just won't shut up, dude. Let us just talk to the girl. Let us, and all this stuff. It's like, get out. He's like, God, I can't stand fucking pimps and stuff like that. So they end up getting her working in this one. They end up getting her working in this one brothel, and she's doing her thing, and again, the madam falls in love with her and stuff, and she becomes very popular with the clients and stuff. But then, unfortunately, one now this is one part that really kind of took me out of the movie. I admit, because it's gross. Apparently, her uncle finds out that she's working. I mean, her flesh and blood uncle. He finds out that she's working in one of these places, and so he goes to see her, and she's telling him, "I don't want you to tell my family about what I'm doing here and all this stuff." So basically, he's all like, "Well, you give me a, to put it bluntly, he's like, give me a piece of that sweet ass, and I won't tell anybody you're working in a brothel." So, and so she's disgusted by this, but she's doing her uncle, and she tells the guy, that what's going on, and he's like, "Okay, so we'll put a stop to that." And so she tells her uncle, "Meet me in this place, and meet me in this like restaurant, stuff like that." And so he's in there, and I mean, this guy is just such a scumbag. I mean, the fact that he's lusting after his niece is gross, obviously, but also too, like he's sitting there, he's talking about, "Hey, hey, yeah, I got a bad gambling problem. I lost a lot of money, so maybe you could lend me some money and stuff like that." Well, this guy, and one of his henchmen, they come in, and they scare off the uncle. They chase him away and stuff like that. But as time goes on, it's like, kind of like she's building up relationships with these clients, and she's building up relationships with the girl she works with in the brothels and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm sorry, I keep doing that. But yeah, so she's doing all this stuff, and at the same time, she's learning more and more. That is kind of the thing. I mean, her character at times in this movie is incredibly naive, and there's a lot of stuff that she does that you kind of get irritated about. It's like she tends to really, it's like she always tends to seem like she puts her faith in like some of the worst people, and so she finally she realizes like she would be better off on her own, and like at one point she gets an assignment to go see this count and his wife, and she goes with this other girl, and so they go to this count's castle, mansion, whatever you want to call it. And so the guy, he's there, and the woman, she's very quiet and stuff. And so she gets up and leaves, but she comes back. She's wearing like a maid's outfit, and he's all like, "Yeah, I married this woman because she's totally into women." And so so the one girl's working on, so the wife is working on the other girl, while the count, he decides he wants to be with Paprika here. And so Corey, so he's all like, "Oh man," he's all like, he's like, "I want you to piss in my mouth," which she does, so if you're into that kind of thing, you get to watch her piss in a guy's mouth. So there's that if you like that sort of thing. But yeah, she did that, and so anyway, so there's that. But of course, it's a Tinto Brass movie, so we need the scene where we do an anal sex scene. There's always got to be one. And so, he's all, I mean, this guy, he's coked out of his mind. I mean, he's snorting coke. He's getting them to snort coke, and, hey, it's a party and all this stuff, right? So while, his wife and this other girl, they're engaging in lesbian sex and all that stuff. So he, does anal sex on Paprika here, and, he's, getting all crazy, getting all into it. And as soon as it's over, and she asks him, did you enjoy that, did you enjoy that, my lord, and all this? And she, he's just, "Oh God, I don't talk to butt fuckers and stuff." It's like, okay. So, so pretty much the party's over. But so her and this other girl, they're leaving, and this other girl starts coughing up blood, and they realize like there's something really wrong with her. They get her to they get her back to the brothel. They call a doctor, and she, unfortunately, she passes. So Paprika decides, she's done. She's having enough of all this, and so she comes across the guy, who's pimping her out. Tells her he wants out. Of course, he's like, "I'm not going to let you go." So she finally gets away from him and everything else, and so she ends up getting work in yet another brothel, and she's working there, doing pretty good. Well, this older man, he brings in his son, and his son just turned 18. He wants to get his son a woman for his birthday. And of course, guess which woman he chooses? Paprika. So he ends up choosing her and everything, and so they go have sex. But it turns out the old man actually likes her, and he actually is kind of taken with her and stuff. So he's all like, hey, I'm gonna have a party and all this other kind of stuff. And so why don't you come to my party and have a good time and have drinks and food and just enjoy yourself. And she's like, okay, sounds good. So she goes to this party and everything, and so every by this time, she's like, if somebody calls her a whore, she accepts it. She's like, it is what it is. I am a whore. People pay me to have sex for money and all this other kind of stuff. So, so she goes, she's, at this party and she comes across this guy and she's all like, don't I know you? Aren't you familiar? Actually, he's the butler. She goes, don't I know you? And he's all like, yeah, I went to the brothel and stuff like that. And she's all like, he's like, I would love to, screw you in the closet and stuff like that. And she's all like, hey, let's go. Why not? So they go into the closet. Well, the old man, he's looking for her and everything. He finds the butler in there and all that. He's like, telling the butler, hey, take a hike, and all this. And so he goes to her and he's telling her, like, honestly, he's like, I want to do it with you because, you're the first woman. He's like, because he's an older guy. I mean, this is, he's pretty much senior citizen. But he's telling her, like, I haven't seen a woman who could get me up, get me hard, like this in a long time. So he has sex with her and everything, but then he decides he's going to go ahead and marry her. And, so she accepts, she's like, okay, why not? What else have I got going on? So she gets a letter from Franco, though, and he's telling her, congratulations on your marriage and stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, I do love him and stuff, but hey, I'm married now and stuff. So he's like, he's showing her off and he's happy that he's married her, even though like the stepson comes up and say, hey, you're gonna let me have a little piece of ass once in a while, and she smacks him in the face. She's like, hey, I'm gonna be your stepmother. You will respect me. Don't you ever talk to me like that again. Like I said, as the movie progresses, like I said, she starts off really naive in the beginning, but kind of like she toughens up as the movie goes along. And so anyway, so she ends up marrying the guy too, basically because the whole brothel thing is coming to an end. They're passing laws that they're going to shut down these brothels. She won't have work anymore and stuff like that. A lot of them are going to have to go on the streets and things like that. So that has something to do with it. So they're at a party, and like I said, the stepson tries to disrespect her. She puts him in his place, and this one really snooty woman comes up and like throws like champagne on her, and you can see her blouse gets wet. You can see her breast through it and stuff. And so the old man, he's all like, hey, it's like, show everybody what you got, and because he knows she's proud. She's not ashamed of who she is, and so she takes her clothes off and he's showing her off and he's telling everybody how much he loves her and he wants to marry her and all this other kind of stuff. And, he's happy and, she's the best and all this stuff. Well, they're not married for very long, so the old man, he does pass away. And the only bad part, though, is like this is supposed to be the scene where she's mourning him because he's laying in the bed and he's, dressed and he's, on the bed, like presented, for the family and stuff like that. And she's there in her mourning. She's wearing all black. She's mourning for him and things like that. And the only bad part, though, is like at first I didn't know he was dead. I got to be honest with you because, the guy's laying on the bed, but you can see he's breathing. I mean, the guy's not trying to. He's just breathing. He looks like he's sleeping. He doesn't look like he's dead. You can easily see the guy's chest rise and fall. So yeah, you can tell the guy's like he's totally, awake or he's totally alive and stuff. But anyway, so she's talking about, she did care about him, so I mean, that's one of the things I like about it. They don't make her into, she's a caring person. They don't make her into this cold blooded, like, person who just has no feelings for anybody and stuff, so I like that aspect of it that they did there. So but yeah, she's talking about, she did love him, she did care about him, things like that, but now of course she's rich, so she's got money. And she goes and the movie pretty much, well, before the movie ends, she goes and the brothel shut down and she's gonna go and she's like, hey guys, we're going to have champagne. We're going to celebrate before the brothel shuts down. We're going to celebrate and all this kind of stuff, hey, pussy's on the house and, drinks and everything. Let's not all go out on a sad note. Let's all play and party and stuff like that. And they do. They have this big wild orgy pretty much. before the brothel shut down, and so it does, and everything. But now she's very wealthy woman. She turns around. She marries Franco, or is it Marco? I forget. But anyway, she marries the guy and she buys him his boat, and now they're a family. They have children and everything else, and so that's pretty much where the movie ends. Is she finally gets her happily ever after, but and she's talking about yeah, I did my years working in brothels and stuff like that. Some memories were good, some were bad, but I'm she's kind of like, I'm thankful for it because it kind of helped me toughen up and learn how to deal with the world and deal with things the way they are. So she's like, I am thankful for that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My allergies been driving me crazy all morning. Forgive me. But anyway, I'm almost done anyway. So yeah, this was one of Tinto Brass's better movies. I really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. Yeah, you got gorgeous women in here. You got it's basically it's a Tinto Brass movie. I mean, you got like you got scenes where you see women peeing, you got the anal scene, you got the typical kind of tropes you would expect from a Tinto Brass movie. Just like I said, it's just not a story about people who get turned on by cheating. So I was happy about that. So it's nice to see a movie that wasn't like that. But overall, this is one of his better movies. So it's like, yeah, if I was going to tell you to watch a Tinto Brass movie, I would say go with this one. I think this would be a good shot. Yeah, a better one to introduce you to his movies. I would say one thing is like, yeah, this movie runs almost 2 hours long. It's a little lengthy, so it's like, yeah, it kind of didn't need to be that long, but still, overall, I enjoyed it. Like if the one thing you want to know, like nudity, yes, plenty of nudity. The same thing though, like you've heard me say this before on plenty of Tinto Brass's movies. You know, you gotta like women with body hair. If you're turned off, you're disgusted by women who have like armpit hair, you're not gonna like this. If you're the kind of guy who you don't like women with hairy vaginas, you're not gonna like this. It's because the vaginas have a lot of hair on them. The armpits are hairy, so I mean it's a Tinto Brass movie, so you kind of know what to expect from these. But actually, yeah, I would say if you come across this, for a good price, I say go ahead and check it out. This is one of the better films. This one's a little bit more exciting and a little bit more fun than some of his other movies. But yeah, I actually enjoy this one. I think this would be a good one to go with. So anyway, that's going to do it. So that was Paprika. So yeah, it was kind of nice to actually review a fun Tinto Brass movie again. So yeah, I'm happy about that. And to wrap it up, if anybody took the time to watch this video, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I'm sorry about the coughing. I'm sorry about my allergies going through the video. I promise I'll try not to make that a habit, a hobby habit. But again, thank you again for watching this. I honestly hope you liked the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed it and I entertained you. Until then, this is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover, wishing you a good night and take care, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.